The first time I heard of Bali was during a conversation with my brother, Sydney. We were discussing the general unrest of the world, and then he said,
If it comes to the worst, Charlie, I'll go to Bali. People say the problem of living is easy there.
We are in 1932, and Charlie Chaplin is about to celebrate his 43rd birthday. He happens to be in Bali, but none of this is planned. This is where destiny has taken him, and the Balinese world offers a very special encounter. This is his first real escape from Hollywood. The visit is not only to be a source of artistic rejuvenation, but a critical window into the colonial world that would contribute to shaping his views on colonialism and ultimately on capitalism itself. The truth is that this voyage of epiphany reveals a multifaceted man who is far more than the entertainer he is sometimes known to be. If the details of the journey can be traced thanks to the travel notes taken by Sydney, the significance of this sojourn in Bali was first captured in Charlie's own travelogue entitled A Comedian Sees the World, published in a women's magazine soon upon his return, and recounted again 30 years later, in 1964, in his autobiography. Bali was perhaps more than an anecdote or a mere footnote in his busy life. It was a turning point, situated exactly when Chaplin was faced with doubts about the meaning of life. At the tail end of the silent film era, Chaplin is more than a filmmaker. He embodies the movies. Actor, director, producer, he does everything. And he does it exactly the way he wants, with the creative freedom he gained from the establishment of United Artists, together with his comrades Douglas Fairbanks, D.W. Griffith and Mary Pickford. Above all, Chaplin is truly the star known to everyone in the world. Photographed, drawn, caricatured. His bowler hat, cane and waddle are familiar to all, as far as the South Seas.
but I have had to sweat pretty hard for my success. The trouble of it is that things don't get any easier, and I've got to go on beating myself all the time. Success is wonderful, but with it grows the strain of trying to keep pace with that inconstant nymph, popularity.
He is at the midpoint of his life and career, facing both a personal and professional crisis. Mildred Harris divorced him in 1920. Lita Gray did the same in 1927. These scandals are perfect for the sensation-mongering press, and each time ending in sensationally huge alimonies. Ex-wives, lawyers, journalists, everyone seems to want a piece of him. And he grows tired of all this. Worse still, sound is becoming the new rage in the movie industry, casting doubts over the future of his career.
With the volume control, we turn this light up and the sound becomes louder.
The truth is that at the beginning they really know nothing about controlling sound. But soon MGM produces the Broadway Melody, Hollywood's first full-length sound musical, and a cheap, dull affair it is. But what a stupendous box office success. Overnight, every theatre begins wiring for sound. And on film sets, men, geared like warriors from Mars, sit with earphones while the actors perform with microphones hovering above them like fishing rods. How can anyone be creative with all that junk around them? But I'm not against the talkies. I'm just against appearing in talkies only for myself, only for my character. After all, the screen Chaplin is not quite human. He does not belong to the ordinary world, and the matrix out of which he is born is as mute as the rags he wears. Some people suggest that the tramp might talk, but this is unthinkable, for the first word he ever uttered would transform him into another person. No, dialogue does not have a place in the sort of comedies I make. For years, I have specialized in one type of comedy, strictly pantomime. I have measured it, gauged it, studied it. I have established exact principles to govern its reactions on audiences. It has a certain pace and tempo. Dialogue always slows action, because action then must wait upon words. Ah, pantomime is far more poetic, and it has a universal appeal that everyone understands, if it is well done.
But what Charlie is afraid of is that with sound, cinema becomes simply less cinematic. With these thoughts, he then stubbornly embarks on the production of one more silent film, City Lights. But it will not be easy, and he will have to struggle like never before with one of the longest production schedules in film history. 3 years into production, with no less than 180 days of filming. Chaplin hesitates to introduce dialogue or not.
Indeed, I have not definitely decided whether or not it is safe to proceed without a talking edition of the current picture. It will mean further delay and an additional expense because of the peculiar and special equipment required.
Finally, he decides to include some music, but rules out talking and dispenses with dialogue entirely. Instead, he strips down to a bare narrative, expressed only through the art of pantomime.
At last, City Lights is now finished. The only good thing about sound is that I can control the music, so I composed my own. Other than this music recording, City Lights remains an ideal silent picture.
Always full of irony, Charlie has very cleverly added sound to his movie in a way that ridicules the very idea of what talkies are about. As for the tramp, he still doesn't say a single word.
Yet I am now so anxious to know the fate of City Lights, and premieres are not indicative. It is the ordinary public that counts. Would they still be interested in a silent picture?
American audiences absolutely love the movie. It raises the nuanced complexities of the little tramp to a new level, proving that a single gesture, even a simple touch, is still able to convey much more than words. Mid-February 1931, he leaves the USA on board the Mauritania. All he wants now is to promote his new film to European audiences. Landing in Plymouth, he gets a very warm welcome before travelling by train to London.
But why is it that London always wrings my heart? Is it the love of my people? They are my people, these Cockneys. I am one of them. And as I look into their faces, I see that spiritual hunger, that inner craving. How little must come into their lives to be so appreciative for the trivial things that I've done. God, what kind of a filthy world is this, that makes people live such wretched lives that if anybody makes them laugh, they want to kneel down and touch his overcoat, as though he was Jesus Christ raising them from the dead. At the opening of City Lights in London, the picture goes over very well. I take my seat in the circle next to George Bernard Shaw. And for the next 3 weeks, I am kept busy with invitations. One is from the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald, another from Winston Churchill, and so on down the regal line.
March the 8th, 1931, Charlie Chaplin leaves England for his European tour. More premieres, more dinners, more parties. In Berlin, he is greeted by huge crowds, but also on behalf of the German film industry by Marlene Dietrich. This continues in Vienna, where the crowd grabs at him and carries him around. And then Paris. Staying at the Crillon Hotel, he's cheered by the crowd and hunted by the press. Caught in the whirlwind of